Welcome back to another episode of the Fourth and a Mile podcast. That's Nicholas Elliott. I'm JD Zaza, and welcome back. We are officially here in tomorrow. I was about to say 2 days, but tomorrow we give the first ever first round of the 12th team college football playoff. How excited on a scale of 1 to 10 are you, Nick?
Shoot, probably like a 10, but it would be better if Alabama would have been playing in it.
It would have been a not. It's right now a 9 for me, so I'm really, really excited. There are some games that I wish happened in other places, but I'm excited. I'm really excited for this. But before we get into the college football playoff, because we're going to preview every game and give our thoughts on it, but let's first go over the complete cluster known as the transfer portal. So there's been so many names in the portal, and we're not going to get to every single one. But I'll start with you, Nicholas. What's the name you want to talk about first?
I think we just keep it on the quarterback side of things, especially in the SEC. We got John Mateer following his offensive coordinator going to Oklahoma. That was kind of like a no-brainer for both of us. We kind of both thought that was going to
Yeah.
happen everybody in the country probably knew that was going to happen. It was just kind of a matter of time. He's a really he's a really like underrated quarterback. He doesn't get talked
He's
about.
getting paid. He was reportedly getting a lot of NIL money.
Yeah, as he should. He leads Washington State with like 800 rushing yards, and he has like 3,000 like a ton of passing yards too, like 2,500 maybe.
Hmm.
He has like maybe like 35 to 40 total touchdowns on the year.
Yeah. And the last Washington State quarterback, he did pretty good. I mean, he finished
Yeah.
third in Heisman.
Anytime you get it seems like all quarterbacks have been. They've just put up all-time numbers at Washington State, and then they can just go make a name for themselves elsewhere. Cam Ward, perfect example. And then you got it's worked out in the pros as well. Gardner Minshew. That's just a good like system for a quarterback if you want to go in. I think now the Washington State coach is now at Wake Forest, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
weird.
there's been coaching moves as well. Like a lot of the group of five guys are going to the Power Five. Like the UNLV coach went to Purdue, so they got Dan Mullen
Barry Odom.
took that job over some probably a Power Five job.
Yeah.
Uh, a
I don't
lot of
think Dan Mullen was getting a Power Five job. That's a good spot for him.
I think it's a great spot for him. He
And
can
then
win. He can win there. He can win there. He doesn't have to
I
put too
mean
much time into recruiting there in
and
UNLV.
the biggest news that we didn't talk about. We talked about it on the NFL side, but the biggest college news that's probably taken over the past week is Bill Belichick going to North Carolina.
Yeah, Bill
Jake's
Jones.
up for the ACC, and the ACC has been down as a conference the past couple years. It's like notoriety wise, so this will be like upbringing of their name. Name,
It'll be something to get eyes
yeah,
on.
more eyes on it.
Yeah, because North Carolina's got some big games this year. Like they got to go play Clemson. They've got some games that they can make their name. But I do have a question. How long does he stay there?
His contract is for 3 years. I think he's going to stay 3 years at least.
I don't think he makes it 3 years.
I think he will. I don't think he's going to go to the NFL. I think that route's done.
Okay. Do you
He
think
made it known, and I watched his whole like presser, his opening. He made it known he wasn't going to go to the NFL. They have the buyout low for a reason. He just wants to coach ball, and I think this would be a good like environment for him because he's going to be coaching. His coaching will matter. His coaching matters in the NFL. And don't get me wrong.
yeah.
He won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach. And then he has two others in total. He has eight. But like, you can make more of an impact on guys as people in a college atmosphere. You get more hands on with them, especially he was talking about like spring ball. You get to go full pads in spring ball. You don't get that in spring ball. You get OTAs and everything. So he gets to be more hands on with the players and
Mhm.
gets to really make an impact on them. I think this is kind of like a refreshing for him. And he's been like digging to get back in. He's been like itching to get back in the game. I think he's going to last a couple years there. And then whenever he feels like because he's like more like opposite of Saban. He like wants to keep going. That's like his drive. Saban lost that drive, but I guess 1 year away for football for Bill was enough to where he had that itch to get back in the game.
Yeah. Um, I'm interested to see how good North Carolina is over the next few years because they're going to listen to him. It's not like the
And
NFL where it's like some guys think they're better. I think they're gonna listen to him. He's gonna have all the power at North Carolina, so we'll see. Um, just an interesting spot. I was
just
shocked.
depends. I just want to see who he has on the staff. And you know probably gonna bring his son from
He's
Washington.
got yeah,
Depends who he has
he's
is
got him as his defensive coordinator. He's probably gonna be the next coach.
that's what it's gonna be. I mean, so one thing that I still saw that I mean, it hasn't happened yet. I really just want to see how we will get to it in the preview, but how Quinn Ewers does these couple next games, however long Texas lasts, will be big for his future, whether that's NFL or if he decides that he wants to go back for another year in college. Because
We'll
there's a
see.
guy waiting behind him who is most likely going to have that job next year. So and that's another transfer portal name that could be entering once the season ends. But another name that we didn't discuss yet that's heading down to the plains, Jackson Arnold. What do you think of that move?
Uh, he's got upside. He's
Yeah,
got
that's
upside. Auburn sold him hope that he can get back to that 5 star. I'm not sure because he was really inconsistent last year at Oklahoma. There were some games where he just made really bad reads, and maybe he's a freshman. All the hype went around him, but he went to Auburn.
yeah. Some
Like
of it wasn't really
he
his
went
fault.
to Auburn in a make or break year for Auburn. Like you're seeing all their portal, they're making a lot of portal moves. This is a make or break year for Auburn. If they don't win 8 games, it's going to be really bad. Like Bull, they're expecting Bull. They want 8 games.
Well, the schedule matched up with them really well this year, but next year, I mean, they're home games, so they're gonna have what A&M on the road. That'll be tough. Oklahoma on the road. That'll be tough. I mean, don't get me wrong, but they'll have Alabama and
They're
Georgia
gonna
at
get
home,
Georgia and Alabama at home, so that's
and
good.
like what Kentucky at home. I forget who else they have, but still, they got a lot of favorable home games. Then, I mean, I think they play Baylor out of conference, which would be Baylor is getting a lot of Auburn transfers, which is
They're
funny enough.
also getting Kobe Prentice out of Alabama.
Yeah. But I kind of like the Jackson Arnold move to Auburn, not gonna lie. I mean, he had no help at receivers. I mean, you can just say, screw it, Cam Coleman's down there somewhere. I mean, he's gonna have a safety valve and Cam Coleman helping him on the outside. And then I guess just fill in at receiver. I don't know who. I mean, Auburn's making some. They got a Wake Forest guy, I believe,
Yeah,
today.
they got him today.
They might get Eric Singleton out of Georgia Tech.
Hmm.
He's like the top portal receiver. So I mean, like, look, it, the bowl game for him he's still kind of like teetering onto that bowl game performance he had last year. And both teams upgraded. I feel like Auburn is going to upgrade at quarterback, and OU is definitely going to upgrade at quarterback. So I mean, it's kind of like a win-win for both sides. But I mean, look, his price tag that's being kind of
Oh, that's another game. Arnold's going to return the Norman next
yeah,
year. Yeah, they're going to get
that'll be interesting.
pretty
And
good
they
that
also
matchup.
so that like, what do you think if you're Deuce Knight right now? So they took two transfers at quarterback. They took Ashton Daniels from Stanford and Arnold. I mean, what do you do if you're Deuce Knight? I mean,
Deuce
it's gonna be a
Knight,
good competition.
the move was made. The move was made to give him time.
Yeah,
It's the same thing what Colorado did. They brought in Keaton Salter from Liberty
they still got
because
Juju Lewis.
what they're doing is they're going to let Juju sit. Don't put all the pressure on him because you saw what putting a ton of pressure does to a quarterback, especially in the NFL. You've seen it all the time. Giving guys time to learn and sit and not put all the pressure on again young kids,
Yeah, I mean,
10-year-olds.
it's advantageous, but then again, you see that, but you can have agents that will be shopping around for their players in 2 months after they're if they're unhappy. So it really just depends on the situation that you're in. Especially, I mean, we talked about it last week, or we talked about it on the phone. Like I mean, LSU's making some big portal moves as well. I mean, they got Van Buren. I mean, he's going to stay a year under
He's gonna
Nussmeier.
sit. He's gonna
I
play
mean,
the. He's doing what Dante Moore did at Oregon, the former 5 star. He played a little bit, kind of took a step back, and is gonna wait behind who Nuss. Yeah, Nussmeyer. Yeah, he's coming back.
Nussmeier, he now sees coming back.
Yeah,
I mean, the portal is only going to keep getting crazier. I mean, we'll probably have an episode. We'll probably come back to talk about a lot of these guys. We'll have a portal just in the off season.
I'll
Just
give
portal.
you. I'll give you. I'll give you a preview of that. A big winner was A&M. Texas A&M went out and said, "Our biggest problem was receiver. Let's go get the receivers. They got the 5 star Micah Hudson out of Texas Tech. They got 2 other guys. I
Was that
was
the guy who had like the long list of like payments, like NIL requests?
I
Or was
think
that
so.
a different
Yeah,
receiver?
yeah.
Texas Tech has also been doing it in the portal. They have like the
Both
top
of them.
portal class.
Texas Tech had won 8 games this year, and they got a taste of. They were really close to getting going to Arlington. Really close. So they're like, "Oh, we see the vision. Let's go. Let's go get some guys and get to
And
Arlington next year."
one more move before we get on to the playoff games that I really liked was Miller Moss to Louisville.
Oh
I
yeah,
I really love that move.
Jeff Brom. He has been awesome at
I
Louisville.
mean, just look what he's done to two. I mean, he took Tyler Show and made him like playable. He was unplayable at
Oh,
his
God,
previous
good
locations.
play.
He was
Is a
really
good
good.
football player.
Yeah, he's got a lot of upside, and I feel Jeff Brom, that system is almost like perfect for him. He can. It's a lot of play action offense, play action passing. You, I mean, you get to still air it out. It's not like you're gonna be
And the
running it.
ACC isn't.
No, it's not a bad conference at all.
Uh, we can talk about USC a little bit, but I think we'll save that for later time. Zachariah Branch is probably the biggest name in the portal right now. I want Bama to get him so bad, but we're not going to go get him. He's going to go to like Oregon or Florida, I
Yeah,
think.
definitely. I feel like it's gonna be Oregon.
I think
Oregon.
Bama's going to go get Isaiah. I think we're going to get Isaiah Horton, the wide receiver, one of the big wide
Yeah.
receivers of Miami.
He's in Tuscaloosa. I mean, I think today he's in Tuscaloosa, and then he might be going to A&M unless Alabama can lock that down. I
Yep.
think Alabama might be able to lock that down, considering I think he's from the state of Tennessee, and
They have to lock him down because
he wants to
they will
be
lose
closer to
bidding.
home.
They will lose bidding wars. I mean, you saw
Yeah,
Greg Bird come out yet last night on Twitter going, "Hey, we gotta if you guys want to get some of these big guys, we gotta get into these bidding wars." Which we'll see. But I will say, let's talk about this one last thing because probably the big story, even though it probably shouldn't have been because this happens all the time, just
yeah.
behind the scenes. Jalen Mbakwe. He so it comes out on Friday. When was this? Monday
It's
morning?
all Monday night, Monday
Monday
afternoon.
afternoon, yeah. Monday
Uh,
afternoon, there was a one of the Bama on three riders comes out and says someone pro, Ole Miss offered him set Jalen Mbakwe, who's a 5 star cornerback from Clay Chalkville, came in with Ryan Williams. They do a podcast together. They're
I mean, the
great.
podcast
And
was good. They
Jalen
get a lot
Mbakwe
of money.
was Jalen Brockway pretty much was one of the main reasons Ryan Williams came to Alabama over some other places. So big deal. He sat behind. He
I mean,
sat.
he was rotational.
He was rotational, but he didn't wasn't the
Yeah,
freshman corner that stood out. It was Xavier Brown for Alabama. So you hear that he goes into the port. He that Ole Miss offers him 7 figures, and he puts his name in the portal
it, yeah.
for a little bit, for less than
Oh,
24 hours.
yeah.
And he goes, and then he pretty much put his name in the portal to see what Alabama would offer him.
Yeah, that
So,
and
so less than 24 hours after he put his name in the portal, he withdrew his name from the portal. Do you want to explain probably why he?
yeah, I mean it's a domino effect of what happened on Saturday night. Last Saturday night, this past Saturday night with Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. I mean, two-way player, really elite receiver and
Gonna
really
be a
good
top
corner.
three. Gonna be a top
And
three draft pick.
Mbakwe was a he played like what, like five positions in high school. He was a really good quarterback. I mean, he is a very versatile player who, I mean, Alabama has like four healthy receivers right now heading the bowl game. And
Four scholarships.
he probably thinks that he deserves some
Snap.
touches at receiver, snaps out and on the offense, which I don't blame him. I mean, he could definitely make some plays, which I mean, I want to see happen. So I which now with that situation happening, he kind of has like a big burden on him that he needs to come through and play really well, or else a lot of fans might hate him for all the
And they will. I
or
think
hate, but like,
he'll get reps next year because Alabama's going
definitely,
to have a lot of new guys at receiver next year.
yep. And
And also, probably Ryan Williams did the opposite of his high school. He probably recruited, went, Jalen, you're not leaving. We're
yeah,
getting, we're
that
keeping
too.
you here.
With a lot of these players
Hey,
nowadays, it just with what happens behind, it's not really who's on your football team. I mean, it's a team behind the scenes. Your agent, your family. I mean, they're getting phone calls from
and
all
the only
these
reason
schools
this story
shopping
became
for you.
massive news is because it's Alabama, I think,
Yeah,
because a lot of this stuff happens behind the scenes.
it happens. Yeah, regularly.
And also, the reason I brought it up is not just because we're Alabama fans, it's just because
It's big news.
this is college football. This is a transfer portal.
This is
This is,
like,
this is the chaos of the transfer portal right
yep.
there. Look at Jan Mbakwe's 24 hours from Monday afternoon to the Tuesday afternoon. Just take a look at that. And there's the portal. That's the portal for you.
People would just hear it's. I mean, a lot of people in backgrounds hears things and can get offers, money, this and that. Offered what he was probably the reason he probably entered the portal is probably because he wants the Ole Miss or whoever, whatever school it was. It could have been any school. I mean, Ole Miss was obviously the rumored school, but they say, look, you can play. We'll give you a guaranteed starting spot. We'll give you this much chunk of cash, and then you'll be have the opportunity to play both ways. I mean, if you're a guy like Mbakwe who wasn't fully starting this past year and was the punt returner and can make plays on offense, probably. I mean, shoot. I mean, I would have hindered. I mean, but you gotta like have better people around you, better agents, keeping you on even keeled and not just like entering right away, really like considering all of your options because he kind of like rushed it, I feel like.
Yeah, but also, I mean, he stayed and
Yeah, I mean,
it had
now he has
I never thought he was gonna leave, to be honest.
yeah,
When he put his name in the world, I was like, yeah, they're not gonna let him
now
go.
he has so much more pressure on him to be able to come
Yeah.
through.
So
But
so any other big portal news before we get into the playoffs? Is there anyone else you want to talk about more in depth? Because we'll have a transfer portal episode when kind of the playoff ends. We'll talk about everything, go into more detail on more basic guys. But right now, is there one other guy that you want to talk about? Because the guy I really want to see where he goes is Zachariah Branch,
yeah,
my favorite receivers, and he's probably the best player. Was one of the best players on USC, arguably the best player on USC. And he put his name in the portal, and USC is crumbling. Every 5-star Lincoln Riley has had at USC has went into the portal. I
yeah,
mean, again, we can make a whole episode on USC, but like, if you would have told me about NIL, I would have like, I'd be afraid of USC. Like, how did USC's the I'm like, I could not believe USC is getting killed in the portal. They should be killing it in the portal.
yeah. I mean, Georgia Tech got a really good receiver out of FIU. I mean, they replaced Singleton already.
Yeah.
It's just how quick some of these teams are getting guys. And another thing, I mean, there's guys who are transferring out mid playoffs. I get like if
Yeah.
you're going to continue to stay within the program and practice, But there's some guys who are entering and just straight up leaving the team. Like
The
I don't
big
get that.
the big one is Bo. And
No, yeah, that's
this
that's the
isn't his
exact story.
this isn't his fault. It's the calendar. It's the calendar being stupid. Why do we have the portal, National Signing Day, our free agency, our trade deadline, and everything in our conference champion? We have our conference championship. We have our trade deadline. We have our free agency. We have our
I don't think the portal
playoff
closes.
in the same month.
They need to extend the deadline of when you can. I mean, for at least for playoff teams, I think they have it to where you can enter like as a playoff once you're eliminated. I mean, you should be able to. I mean, portal should close for all the teams who haven't made conference championship or playoff.
And
Yeah,
speaking of Bo, I was listening to Josh Pate's interview with James Franklin
yeah.
before the playoff game this week. They even talked about it. It's like, look, James Franklin he came out and said, look, Bo didn't want to leave, but he has to do what he has to do
Hopefully, he's staying within the
because
program
because
still.
if he stays with if he stayed with Penn State through the entire time, then what quarterback positions are open?
Yeah,
There's
I
like
mean,
no one open. That
maybe his position. Maybe he'll come back to Penn State. I mean, look, I could see Drew Aller going
he's
to the
staying.
draft.
He's
He's staying.
staying. Yep. He came out.
That's probably why then. But if I'm Bo, you enter the portal, you do what Preston Stone's doing at SMU. He's still staying within the program to practice with them, because because Bo still has he has like plays ran for him because he
Yeah,
has
but
running
he's
plays
not
like
going to be the
specifically
backup.
for him.
He's not going to be the backup if Aller goes
That
down.
too. That too, but he also has plays that are specifically ran for him. Like he will come in for hour in the middle of the game for a
Yeah,
couple plays.
he won them the Wisconsin game.
Yeah.
In the
I mean,
Wisconsin game, they were in a dogfight with Wisconsin.
let's go ahead and get into some of these
All
college
right,
playoff games.
you want to? All right, let's start. So, all right, portal's done. We'll make an entire episode about that. Final remarks. Portal's a cluster. We'll go over it later.
Portal is portaling.
Portal is portal. Yeah, it is NIL and the portal. Yeah, college football is completely different from what it was when we were growing up. So, college football playoff time. 12 teams. 12 teams. Home playoff game first round. First matchup tomorrow night, Indiana at South Bend, Indiana against Notre Dame. A state title game.
Yeah, this is pretty
A
cool.
state title game.
There's probably be a lot of Indiana. There's gonna be tons of Indiana fans at that game.
It's 200 miles. I
You know
looked at
what's
like
crazy?
100 miles from South Bend,
So
Bloomington.
so what's kind of weird about this is it's kind of like an NFL vibes almost. So you get your not really NFL vibes, but like so both teams you get to hear your like they play your music when you're running out on the field. They'll like play instead of just be like you won't hear boos. We will hear like here's Rocky Top coming out of Tennessee, and you'll hear that blaring through the speakers instead of just tons of boos and be like, oh, coming out of the tunnel now is Tennessee Volunteers with just nothing. You'll just hear boos. Now it's like they'll play the songs and stuff for these teams. It's kind of weird because I mean, it kind of takes away the home field advantage, but
How? South Bend's gonna. This isn't gonna be all Indiana.
no,
South
no, no.
Bend will
I
be
don't think that one. I'm just saying like some of the like music and whatnot is kind of like toned in to be like a neutral site game, which doesn't really make any sense. But
what?
this South Bend game is gonna be. I think Notre Dame
What?
has a really good path to go deep here in the playoffs.
What is your key to the game in
I
this one?
think for Notre Dame to have sustained success, they need to lean on that running game, attack of Jeremiah Love, and you have the running attack with Riley Leonard. I mean, Riley Leonard, it seems like he hasn't really had to use his arm at all to really will his team to victory. They've been leaning on that. I mean, Notre Dame traditionally has always had good front seven on both sides of the ball, which is still true right now. You can lean on that offensive line, and I still think Indiana's probably. I think Notre Dame has a definitive advantage up front over Indiana right now. I mean,
Yeah.
so lean on that run clock. I mean, Indiana's a high power offense. If you can leave them on the off the field and just chew clock, And I just want to see how Indiana responds because they played that one big game to Ohio State, kind of got, I mean, it was kind of a blowout without the score kind of indicating it. It was 38-15. It was like, but you can't make mistakes. They had way too many mistakes in that game in Columbus. You cannot, if you want to win this game on the road, you cannot have mistakes.
I think Indiana, if they make this into a game that I think there's one way I think Indiana wins this game. One way. You know what that is? Shootout. They got to make this into a shootout
You got to
because
force.
Notre Dame's defense is good, but I'm worried because I watched that last game. Their last time they went onto the field was against USC and JD Mayava. 463 passing yards for Maya.
They did have two pick sixes.
He had two pick sixes in the red zone. And this
Yeah.
is Jaden, a kid who didn't really start the full year in a
No.
backup. This is the best quarterback Notre Dame's going to see has seen all year. Curtis Wart's going to be the best quarterback they see all year, and probably the best quarterback they'll see until the semifinals if they make it that far. Because the winner of this game would go on to play Boise State in Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. That's
And
who this game goes to play.
And if Notre Dame wins that game, I really like Notre Dame in that next game because that play style really like it goes into their favor.
I think Indiana can beat them.
I
I
think no, I think Indiana can too, but it's gonna take they're gonna have to play mistake free football and
they're gonna have to get if they
they're
can
gonna
get a
force.
few stops, if they can just contain Jeremiah, like
That's what I'm thinking is they need
about
to
hold him to 100. Just hold him to 100. If you can hold him to 100, you
if you can hold them to like the first if you can get like on first down if you can hold them to like a 2 or 3 yard gain, get to like second and medium, force and then force third
if
and longs and third and
Indiana wants to win the
passing
game,
downs.
if Indiana wants to win the game, they got to do what they didn't do against Ohio State. Make Leonard win the football game.
Exactly.
Because I think they got Indiana's got the quarterback matchup. I think they got the skill guys that can beat Notre Dame. I'd watch out if I'm Notre Dame. Like a lot of people are
Yeah.
like Notre Dame semifinals. I'm like, hold on a minute. They're facing a team that's not bad. Indiana's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this Cinderella story might be. I'm starting to buy into Notre Dame here, but it's going to be a good game. It kind of just depends who wins in the trenches. If they can, like you said, hold them to under 100 or 100, that's kind of like the key for me. Because, like we said, if you just need stops on defense and
If
you
it's
can't turn the
130,
ball.
if it's 130 and up, Notre Dame wins. Jeremiah Love, if you show me Jeremiah Love's stats, if someone had a time travel and you
Yeah.
showed me one thing, if I see Jeremiah Love's stats, if I see it under 130, I'm like, oh, I think Indiana's probably gonna keep this
They
close.
just can't be put into third and short, third and manageable. They need to make it tough on Riley Leonard. And I think of what they need to do a good job containing Riley Leonard in the pocket because I mean he's a really capable runner and he's been destroying teams with his feet all year.
Yeah. So next game we're gonna preview is the 11 a.m. game, which is SMU and Penn State. SMU under one loss. Their one loss in the regular season was against BYU. They win. They win a lot. They win probably 10 straight. I think 10 straight. They won 10 straight,
Yeah.
and then
It's like 9 or 10.
they win 10 straight because they were 11-1. 10 straight, and then they go to the ACC championship, get completely destroyed by Clemson in the first half. Second half, a little bit better. Better. They get into it. SMU ties the game, but really bad kickoff coverage and really bad prevent defense. Clemson kicks a 60 something yard field goal to win the game. So SMU doesn't get the bye, but instead has to travel to State College in around 20 degrees I've seen to go play Penn State. My concern for SMU is one thing: drops.
Yeah,
They
especially in the
played
cold.
the ACC championship. The game was played in 50 degrees and they had six drops.
Now half that, and you'll be playing in like
There-
20.
The good news for there are good two things that I'm positive on for SMU. Good things. One, this is an 11 a.m. game. If this is at night, this is not good. You got them at 11 a.m. You've played 11 a.m. games a lot. Penn State's played 11 a.m. games. Second thing, I think you have weapons. I think they have weapons to give Penn State nightmares on the outside. But I really, the whole game is determined on what SMU team walks out of that tunnel in the first half. What team are we going to get? Because Penn State can do what Clemson did, probably two times better than what Clemson could do. So this is the one where I would love to see SMU win, but this is the one where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what's your take?
I'm, I don't know. I'm the same way. I don't really feel good about it for
I mean,
SMU.
I
Penn
looking
State is never really like blown out teams this year, though. They played like everybody close, is what seems
I
like.
mean,
So it's,
looking at Vegas right now. They're Penn State's an 8.5 point favorite. So it's
they go into a whiteout. I mean, it helps that you're not playing at night because one, it'll be colder, and at least you don't. It's not snowing.
yeah,
And the second thing is, at least it's in the daytime because the crowd at night is even better. But the still crowd's still going to be hard to handle. It's just going to be depending on how they do in the first quarter. The first quarter is just kind of that tone set. They cannot come be playing from behind again like they did against Clemson because they dug themselves just a massive hole and they just got stuck in it and they couldn't. They had chances, they got out of it, and then quicksand got them and they got straight
yeah.
stuck in the hole. So their offense will give Penn State troubles though if they want. Feel like they got to put it in the 30s if they want to win this game. If this game is in the 30s, I feel pretty good about SMU pulling off this upset.
The thing is, Penn Penn State Penn State has to do one thing that they haven't been doing. They do this when they're up.
Lean on the running game.
They have to lean on the
I
running
mean,
game
you have two of the
deep.
you have a 1-2 punch that's like really good.
But
You have
why do they get
Trout and
away? But
Singleton.
why do they get away from it? I don't
Well,
get
because
it.
they have the best tight end in the country in Tyler Warren. I mean, that helps. You have him. I mean, Penn State has guys.
Yeah,
I mean, Penn State. This is a game that is a must win for if you're James Franklin. Like you hear all this talk. You can't win big games. You can't do this. You're never gonna make the playoffs. So you make the playoffs here. You still don't have any good wins this year. You just kind of just like rode the ship, ride the wave. I mean, you look solid against Oregon offensively. You just couldn't stop them on defense. That was a Dylan Gabriel masterclass in that game. And SMU kind of has a similar offense. They high power offense, love to throw the
it's
ball around.
similar, but the offensive line of SMU is nowhere near
Over,
Oregon.
yeah. And
Abdul
Kevin
Carter,
Jennings,
Abdul Carter, number 11 for Penn State, who took over for my
yeah,
group, number 11. Yeah, he's gonna be a problem.
yeah.
He's gonna
It,
be.
Kevin Jennings' legs needs to be coming up big for them, making some big escapes in the pocket because he can throw it really well on the run. He's a really
Yeah.
good quarter.
This
I
game,
really like what I saw from
the
him.
key matchup of the game is SMU's offensive tackles versus Penn State's edge rushers.
Contain.
If they can let let Jennings get out of there, because you saw what Gabriel could do, you saw what Will Howard could do a little bit, you saw what some of these teams can do if they just get outside.
And that was probably the most pressure he faced all year was in that Clemson game. And what happened when Clemson got home? He got in trouble through turned it over a couple times,
Turned
forced him,
over, got stripped once.
got sacked a couple times. So this would be a game. It would just be one in the. I mean, it would be one. Which team can dominate the line of scrimmage? It's not even like the running game. I mean, running game for Penn State, yes, but more so for SMU. I feel like this is if SMU can protect Jennings and give him time, enough time to where he can escape without maybe a holding or a
Yeah.
couple guys on him, then I have no trouble with SMU keeping this close. But I mean, that Clemson game, you just can't have that bad of a start. You got to come out.
Yeah, I'm more worried about SMU secondary.
Yeah. I mean, Penn State
Howard,
has some guys.
they have guys, but
I mean, their
again,
linebackers about to be mismatched against Tyler Warren. If you cannot, you got to double. I mean, you can't double team him, but like that dude is a. I mean, he wears 44 as a tight end. Everybody thinks he's a fullback out there. Nope, he's the best tight end in the country this year. I mean, he's making every single
he's
catch
either
over.
number one or number two. The only guy that comes close is Gunnar Helmet of Texas.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, those two guys are the best two right now. Who are some of the Penn State receivers? I mean, I haven't besides Warren. I mean,
That's the problem. They don't have much skill. This is the reason why it's not really James Franklin that I'm worried about for Penn State when it goes deep. I'm worried if you have to rely on those pass catchers.
yeah,
Ours,
their second leading receiver is Harrison Wallace. He's from Montgomery. He has like 39 catches, 638 yards. I mean,
they don't have
averaging like 50
outside.
yards a game.
I mean, they just need to figure out what they need Ohio State's level recruiting.
I mean, they have Julian Fleming has done like nothing for them.
Yeah. Again, that's the Penn State thing. It's like, when was the last time they had a receiver? Really good receiver.
I mean,
Jahan Dotson. Probably
yeah,
Jahan
John
Dotson.
Dotson definitely.
That was a while ago.
Yeah,
So
I'm down. I don't know about this game. This game, so the
I
line
this is the
hasn't moved
game.
at all.
This is the game. This is the game that I see two scenarios happen. You ready for this?
Yeah,
One, Penn State blows them out.
yeah, I could see that
Or
shootout
SMU wins the game. SMU wins a close game.
in a
If
shootout.
if it's a close game, I see SMU win the game.
Unless it's a low score. If it's a low scoring close game, then I'd lean Penn State just because they played a lot of those Big Ten style games. But if it's
But
a,
I
low- a high scoring close game, then yes, I would lean SMU in that scenario.
I lean SMU in close games. I lean SMU in the close
Just because
games.
they've been there. I mean, Penn State's played a lot of close games this year because they have not been able to close out teams.
Agreed.
So it'll be a differentiating styles. So this will be an interesting game
Uh,
to
yep.
start the.
And let's get into the next segment, which is Clemson versus Texas. We're going to talk about Clemson, Texas really, really soon, but I want to get one opinion that came out. I saw this on Twitter because I still call it that. I just want your opinion on it. What do you think of the new scoreboard?
Ooh, I like that.
Do you like it more? I like the old one more, the one with the gold letters.
Oh yeah, the gold letters looks cool. I kind of like the fading out of the colors by the nameplates.
I think this looks really good, by the way.
Yeah, I have no problems with it.
Yeah, I don't know how this got leaked or whatever this is, but I think it's cool. I like the Tennessee Ohio State, how it looks, the new scoreboard. So yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Clemson, Texas. This is the biggest spread right now. Texas is a 11-point favorite. Is that correct? Updated?
Let me check.
Let's see.
Sounds about right. I mean, this
It
game,
actually no. It's the lines move. Texas minus 12.
yeah, it opened at 10.5. Now it's 12.
This is the okay. I will say this about this game. This is the matchup where I think we get an upset.
Yeah,
This is where I can see it because I do not. I think Clemson is talent. I think their rosters are pretty similar. Are there bad matchups on this map for Clemson? Yes. Are there bad matchups on this for? Yes, but I do think Clemson can. I think Clemson can beat them.
and look, Texas has a really good
I
defensive
trust
that's gonna,
I trust Dabo Swinney in the playoffs.
yeah,
When when has he never shown up? When has he not shown up in the playoffs? Really, one year, which was 2020 when they had to go play Ohio State. It's the
yeah.
one time he's never shown up.
Think the most
Clemson knows
that game and in 20 and when they played at
Clemson
Alabama.
has experience in the playoff. Texas, some of it,
Oh,
some of
that
it,
recently Texas has more experience in the playoffs than Clemson.
but Clemson knows how to win these tight games.
Yeah, Texas
Texas
has not.
has not figured out how to win close games against quality opponents, which were really their only two close games this year were
Yeah, they've only played two close games and they lost both of them.
Georgia. I mean, they had games that were kind of close, but teams that are on the level of their competition that were close was Georgia, and they failed. They failed both times. So this matchup, I do think Texas. Actually, I'll save this take for later. What's your take on this game? Because I think of all the matchups that are like upset worthy, which are like the first three. Because if you tell me that Tennessee beating Ohio State's an upset, I don't really see it. I
I
think
mean,
it's
yeah,
pretty 50-50. Of the three games, I think this is the most likely upset.
I think I agree with you on that. Clemson is kind of playing their best ball right now. I mean, they've been up and down all year. They've had a lot more downs than ups, but they kind of got that like second revive once Syracuse beat Miami. They kind of got like that redemption. Like, look, we got a second chance, and we need to our third chance when we need to take advantage of it. They took advantage of it in Charlotte, and I think look what they have going is Cade Klubnik. He's really played well against
He's
SMU.
been a lot better than he was last year.
Yeah.
He's been one of those guys that no one really talks about, but he's taken a massive leap forward for Clemson.
And what helps
Record
about
the
Clemson,
record's been the same over the past few years, but Klubnik's not been the problem.
yeah, I think the is if it's going to be a Texas, it's going to be same how we said in the Penn State game. Is Texas elite defensive line going to be able to get home on Klubnik? Can their O line hold up against that defensive line? I think Texas. I mean, I think Clemson can move down the field. They've got good playmakers on the outside.
Antonio Williams, one of the
Yeah,
he's
he's
probably the
very
most
good.
underrated freshman. He was also part of this great freshman class. I mean, there's like four guys that are top of this freshman class, which were
Yeah,
Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Cam Coleman, and Ryan Wingo from Texas. This Antonio Williams kid in Clemson, he's pretty good. So
yeah.
I think Clemson can beat him. Do I think it happens?
Nah. I
No.
think Texas is going to have a better game plan coming into this game. I mean, look, their game plan against Georgia. I mean, they got completely manhandled by Georgia. I mean, not really, but they just couldn't score in the red zone. I mean, that
Their
was their
defensive line, it was the same issue with the first match with Georgia. They got home. Clemson, how good is Clemson's defensive line? Is this the Clemson defensive line? Is this anywhere near what Clemson's defensive line used to be with Dexter
nah,
Lewis, Leon Farrell?
no.
Anything? Can they
They show the flashes.
pressure? Can they get pressure? Because when
Peter
Force is
Holmes.
pressured, that's when Texas kind of stumbles. The one thing I'm worried about for Clemson though is how balanced Texas can be, because they found something against Texas A&M. Wisner,
They can get into it.
This Wisner kid they got.
Yeah, he's good.
Who would have
They
thought? Like
can.
a guy that came out of nowhere.
All it takes for them is to get that first down, and then they can just get into a rhythm just like that. And like 2 minutes later, they're already in the end zone. I
And that's
think what
the issue with Texas. Can you get them? If you get them out of rhythm, it's really hard for them to get back into rhythm.
need their receivers to get going like right off the rip because they've struggled. Their receivers were dropping like everything against Georgia,
The
especially Isaiah Bond. He needs to step in.
the issue I have with this is the one thing I have problem with Texas. They're one dimensional at receiver, even though they shouldn't be.
Yeah, they definitely shouldn't
They're
be.
way more reliant on,
Matthew Golden.
but there's some teams where you're like, there's some teams where you're kind of like, yeah, they're obviously the one I mentioned. They have one guy that's great. Two teams this year have been kind of surprised me on how one I mentioned they've been on the outside. Alabama,
Yeah.
Texas. I mean, I haven't heard Isaiah Bond have a big game. I mean, does Texas have great pass catchers? Yes, they're all really good. Wingo's great. Isaiah Bond's great when he's on. Golden's great. Gunnar
Yeah.
Helm's great. But
So
really use
yeah.
Golden?
How about one more? How about going back to the like pass rushers? What helps is they're going against Quinn, who's still on that hurt ankle a little bit. That ankle, I mean, it's probably
That
getting
helps.
closer, just probably like 80 to 85% healthy from just getting more rest. I mean, they've gotten a couple weeks off now. But how quick do you think Sark would turn on Quinn? Like, what's his leash now? I mean, Arch will still come in for plays that are probably designed QB runs because he just has that dog.
There will be a package for him, but I do. This is my hot take. They're not going to pull him
Yeah.
unless he plays
Unless,
unless he's terrible. If he's playing okay, they're going to keep Ewers in because this is Ewers' team. This
yeah.
is the team. Ewers has been the guy. He's been the guy. He's been their leader for the past 2 years. He's played. Ewers has been really good in big moments. He was really good against Washington last year in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. His inability to move in the SEC
That
championship game is
and
what
this is
gave them
where I'm
troubles.
like, and this is where Texas needs to have a package for Manning. He's not going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this right now. He's
Not
not
this
going to
year.
be the starting quarterback unless Quinn Ewers plays terrible. It's not going to be Manning's turn as the quarterback unless he plays terrible. They're going to have packages for him because it makes it harder for a defense to go, if yours is in, okay, here's his strengths and weaknesses. But if Arch comes in, he has completely different strengths and weaknesses. This is Quinn's team. This is Quinn's team. And
How
I
do you
think
think DKR is going to be?
and I think right now, actually, he's the better passer than Arch right now.
Yeah.
I've seen.
How do you think the environment in DKR is going to be for this game?
I think it's gonna be good. I don't think of the environments that are hosting games, I think it's gonna be the weakest. But I'm not saying that's bad. DKR is a good stadium, but it's not Penn State. It's not South Bend at night. It's not Columbus, and it's not what's the other one? Am I missing one? No, it's Penn State, South Bend, Columbus. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's only four. Yeah. I think another thing, like, where do you see a path to victory for Clemson here? Like, what needs to go right for them?
They got to do something that they haven't been able to do this year. Can sustain the run. They have Phil Maffa, who's really good. They haven't been able to sustain the run with him.
He's been really quiet. I mean, he has another
How do you,
1,000 yard
how
year,
did
but
Georgia beat Texas twice? Run. It wasn't really on the outside. They had big plays on the outside. They had some big plays on the outside, obviously. But the way Georgia beat him is you got to beat him at the line of scrimmage. And really, Clemson's offensive line, again, it's super repetitive, but it's true. Offensive line is probably the most important matchup in all these playoff games. Because if the underdog's offensive line wins the line of scrimmage, then you got a close game. I'm not really saying like quarterbacks are the most important thing in these playoff matchups, even though they're important. I think Klubnik's going to play well. I think Ewers is going to play well. I think offensive line and versus defensive line is the biggest matchup of these playoffs. I think that's where you get upsets. I mean,
yeah,
think of think of this year when we got upsets. Oklahoma, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Alabama, both off. Oklahoma won and Vanderbilt both won the line of scrimmage. That's how they won. How did Michigan beat Ohio State? They won the line of scrimmage. It's not really been because of quarterbacks when you got upsets. It's because of line of scrimmage. And that's what football is, a line of scrimmage game.
yeah,
If Clemson gets something, they have to keep it balanced. Can Maffa get 3 yards? 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards. 3 to 4 yards a pop. Eventually. It's going to start off being not great for Clemson. The run game will not start good. But this is where I'm thinking Dabo's going to be smart about this. He's going to keep with the run game because when he's won at Clemson, he's stuck with the run game and kept it balanced. And that's the way they win this game.
Yeah. You want to get to the last game of the night?
The last game of the night, which is, my opinion, the matchup I've been waiting for really since this playoff, since really the first playoff. And when Ohio State lost to Michigan, this is the matchup I wanted to see. Tennessee, Ohio State in Columbus. Here we go. Let's start with the big story. This is Ryan Day's. This is probably Ryan Day's most important game.
One of his final
This is
straws.
probably his. I think this is his most important game of the year.
Did you see
This is the most important game of
coaching career
coaching career, really since the national, really since
since the Michigan game?
really the national championship.
I mean, you could say any of the Michigan games. I mean, can't beat them.
Yeah, but this one, Ryan Day's been really good against everyone not Michigan.
Yeah.
This is playoffs. We're in Columbus at night. All Columbus, Ohio State's been asking for is night games. You get it. You get a Southern team going up to play in cold weather. You get
I don't really. Tennessee plays in a lot of cold weather game.
they do, but not as many. But here's the thing: Ohio State got getting everything they want. If they win this game, they go play Oregon. They get
Revenge.
rematch with Oregon.
That game in the
They have this $20 million roster. They have everything they want. Do they take it?
go prove it.
I mean, last time we saw you play, you had everything you wanted: the better roster, the better team, home
And you
field.
got
Lost.
destroyed on the line of scrimmage yet again.
Yeah,
Made mistakes. I think a big key for this game is going to be Ohio State's offensive line against Tennessee's defensive line. I mean,
and
and Will Howard.
I think Tennessee beats them. I think Tennessee. I think Tennessee beats them in line of scrimmage because losing Seth McLaughlin and they have like a guard, I think a guard injured as well. They have two guys injured. In my opinion, Tennessee is the best defense, has one of the best
Yeah.
defenses in the nation.
And I think another thing, Nico's getting a lot. I mean, he's probably fully like healthy now.
He's gotten better throughout the year.
He looked really good against Vanderbilt, outside of like one or two mistakes.
Even against Georgia. I thought he played fine. I didn't
Oh
think
yeah, he was hitting.
terrible
Yeah,
against Georgia. The thing, Ohio State wins this game. The way Ohio State wins this game is by doing the complete opposite of what Michigan they did against Michigan. How do you beat Tennessee? Second, you have to target their secondary. That's their weak link.
well, Will
That's
Howard's been. Even if it is their weak link, Will Howard's been prone to making mistakes. He
But
cannot
I
make
will say,
mistakes in this
but
game.
here's the thing. There's such a mismatch on the outside in favor
Yeah,
of Ohio State in this game that if Will Howard Will Howard needs to play an Oregon game. He played really good against Oregon. Until the final drive, he made the passes that he needed to be, and they were on target.
yeah,
If Ohio State's going to win this game, they have got to, Ryan Day's got to stop thinking that this team has to run the ball to win the game. You have the best wide receiver coach in the nation, and probably the one of a top two receiving core in college football right now with Jeremiah Smith, who's a generational talent, Emeka Egbuka, who's going to be a first round pick, and Carnell Tate. And then you got obviously got 5-star talent everywhere because guess what? It's Ohio State. They it's them, Alabama, and LSU in the NFL for wide receiver U. They all have great ones. And Ohio State might be the best of them all. I don't know.
yeah. how do you think Nico is going to do against this Ohio State defense? Like, I think Dylan Sampson, if he can have a big game here,
Dylan said, here's the thing.
he could have a big
Tennessee,
game here.
Tennessee wins this game. Tennessee, I'm worried about Tennessee because they here another thing. Okay, I
Their
will
system's starting to get figured out.
neat this matchup. Okay, I will say this though. This matchup where I think quarterback will decide the game. This
Yeah.
is where I think quarterback decides the game because I think the way to beat both these teams is by lighting them up. Is to light them up. Do not. They both need to stay balanced. I'm not saying go all air raid, but the quarterback who plays better will win the game because the way to beat both these teams is by torching them. Tennessee, along with Ohio State, has really good speed outside. How did Oregon beat Ohio State? Speed on the outside. Evan Stewart was their one-on-one guy. Tennessee's got Dante Thornton, who's tall. They got a Oregon had a speed threat in Tez Johnson, who torched them. Tennessee's got Squirrel White. This
Yeah,
matchup,
Dante Thornton.
this matchup will come down to, I believe, passing. Because I think both these teams will run the ball fine. I think both will run the ball fine. I mean, the strengths of both these teams are their front sevens.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you want to talk anymore or do you want to get into predictions?
I mean, I think Tennessee. I think Dylan Sampson's gonna have a big game for Tennessee here.
He's had a big game in every big win they've had.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
gonna
really,
need to.
really, then the second half, it's like Dylan Sampson, Dylan Sampson, Dylan Sampson, Dylan Sampson, Dylan Sampson.
Because if he can get going, then they're gonna have to start honing in on him, and then Nico can start hitting the slant so a bit
That's
easier.
severe and shoot. That's severe and shoot in a
Yep,
nutshell. That's severe and shoot in the nutshell. Just look at the numbers.
yep.
There's five defensive linemen.
It's exactly how Georgia has owned Tennessee ever since Heupel's been there. They can't run the ball, and they've been forced to pass, and the pass hasn't been working. If you
Yep.
can like force them to get into those passing downs to where you can like hone in on all these slants and all these over the middle or deep balls, vertical routes. And I mean, I don't know. These games are very interesting.
I agree. All right. So let's do predictions. And then I want to do something else right after that. You ready?
Yep.
Let's start it. Let's go in order with these playoff games. Number one, I also want to hear, do you think we get a cover? Because Indiana, Notre Dame 7.5.
Notre Dame wins and covers.
I get Notre Dame winning, Indiana covers. Do you next I've got SMU Penn State. I think Penn State blows them out. I want SMU to play it close, but I think it's gonna be a blowout. I don't
Uh,
I don't see it.
give me Penn State winning, SMU covering.
All right. Clemson, Texas.
Ooh, actually, no, Penn State both ways for me. I agree with you. Sorry. And then give me Clemson covering Texas winning. That was my cover game. I forgot.
I've got Texas winning, and I think Texas covers. I said that all about Clemson, but I think Texas is the better team. And then Tennessee, Ohio State. For this one, let's just do pick 'em. Let's just do a pick 'em for this one.
Like Texas and Clemson, like the square every like I feel like the a lot of the bets are gonna be on Clemson just because of the name brand.
Yeah. For I've got Tennessee beating Ohio State.
I got Ohio State coming through.
All right. So the last thing I want to talk about is your national championship pick. We're starting the playoff now. If you had a nickel today, who would you think wins the national championship? Who
Georgia,
wins the national championship? And who do you think your dark horse pick? Who's the dark horse pick for you?
Georgia, Georgia is winning it. Is my pick. I think that I don't care if they have anybody throwing the court. I don't
Yeah,
care if they have their backup playing. Their backup will can be can be that guy. I don't know. Dark horse, Notre Dame.
all right.
I could see Notre Dame winning these next two, and then playing Georgia, and the winner of that wins it all.
In my opinion,
Oregon, I don't want to just pick the chalk here and pick Oregon. I feel like Georgia's probably chalk too,
my
but just
opinion,
seed.
there
But
there's two there's two teams. And I think they're both on one side of the bracket.
you think Ohio State,
I've
Oregon,
got Texas winning the national championship.
Texas?
I got Texas. I think they're
Yeah,
just the most balanced team. I think they're the best.
I would love to see Georgia, Texas round three. Not gonna lie.
I think that's going to be your national championship, to be honest.
Yeah, I
My
don't know.
dark horse pick, my wild card pick, Tennessee.
Yeah, I would hate that.
Tennessee, I would hate it. Look, they could either lose to Ohio, get blown up by Ohio State, which could happen, or they just go on a run. They go match up with Oregon. I think that's decent matchup for Tennessee. And then
Wait,
they
so who would wait? Tennessee? Oh, Notre Dame. Oh, wait, Notre Dame matches up with or would match up with Georgia in the second round.
yeah, Texas would
That would
go
be.
the
I feel
winner
like
of
Notre Dame matches up really well against
so
Georgia.
so here are the matchups. If the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State's going to go play Oregon in the Rose Bowl, which either way, cinema. We're going to get cinema in the Rose
Why
Bowl.
did Georgia not choose to play in the Peach Bowl?
Who
They
knows?
could have played in that stadium for four times.
Who
Is
knows?
it national? Is it why they don't want to play in that
No,
stadium
I
twice in the
don't.
same month?
Because they want the national championship in Atlanta. They'll have the
I know,
national.
but they would have had four games there in that
I
season.
know. I know. This isn't.
It's kind of a
Look,
dumb decision. I don't
if
know. Maybe they didn't get to choose that. Maybe they had to choose
I
the
don't
next.
think they chose it. I think.
Yeah,
I don't
that's what
think
I'm
they chose
thinking.
it.
I mean, still, they're playing in New Orleans. That'll be a good area for them. Notre Dame would travel well. That'd be a fun that'd be a good matchup.
That's a helmet game. That's a helmet game.
Yeah, if Indiana played Georgia, I would feel bad for Indiana.
Yeah. So here's what it happened. Texas would go play Arizona. The winner of Clemson, Texas would go play Arizona
Yeah,
State in the Peach.
yeah. Texas has a really good route.
And then Oregon plays, and then Oregon, would go play
Ohio State,
play
Oregon got such a bad draw.
Ohio State and Tennessee. Yeah.
Oregon got the worst draw of them all.
And let's say just for
Let's say chalk holds.
let's say hypothetical happens and Oregon and Texas go play. They're both on the same side of the bracket, which means they would go play in the Cotton Bowl, which is a Texas home game, by the way, another
Yeah,
Texas home game.
because
So
would they be the higher? They'd be the higher seed. That'd be the
the
closer
game would
game
be
for
played in the Cotton
Oregon
Bowl.
too.
The game would be played in the Cotton Bowl.
You think Oregon would say screw
They
that?
can't change it. They can't
You
change
sure
it.
they can't choose it?
Nope, they can't choose it.
Okay. How about?
That's one of the crappy things about this
I
whole
mean,
plan.
That means Georgia could have the chance to play two times in the same year, and not the same year, but two seasons in a row playing in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. So again,
A
if
lot of travel. I feel bad for all these fans, man. All these fans. It's like if you're a fan, do you just choose to go to one game? I mean, like if you're fans are gonna have to like.
and then let's say chalk holds on the other side of the bracket and Georgia, we see Georgia and let's say Penn State. They would go play in Miami in the Orange Bowl, which would be a Georgia home game.
This
Technically.
is all like 8 days in between the two rounds. So it's just like the from the quarters and the semis is only 8 day, like a week.
Yeah, and one thing I looked up before this podcast is the Cotton
Oh.
Bowl would be played on the ninth.
Yeah, the Orange Bowl is played on
The
Orange
Orange
Bowl
Bowl would
played
be
on a
played on the
Thursday.
ninth. The
You.
Orange Bowl would be played on the ninth. The Cotton Bowl would be played on the 10th, and the national championship in Atlanta is on the 20th.
I don't like it them being on Thursday and Friday. That's kind of weird.
Because they're not trying not to compete with the NFL.
That's true. NFL will have
Because this
playoff games on
because
Saturday, Sunday.
during here's another thing. The playoff games, which are the playoff games, SMU, Penn State, Clemson, Texas, and Tennessee, Ohio State, they're all competing with the NFL.
We'll see how it does. I mean, college will do well. I feel like it's a
Yeah,
Saturday,
I think the college is going to get surprisingly good ratings because it's the playoffs.
and a lot of people. I mean, it's Saturdays. College owns Saturdays, NFL owns Sundays. I mean,
Yep.
it kind of sucks that there's. I mean, the NFL games on Saturday are actually pretty good.
Yeah, I know.
Texans, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens. They probably did it just to say, "Screw you, NCAA. We're gonna have better ratings than you."
Yeah,
I
they get
mean, come on,
Texans.
man.
Yeah, they get Texans Chiefs on.
And
But
Steelers, Ravens, part two. I mean, who doesn't want to see that?
you better get your multicast ready.
Or hope that Clemson, Texas is over pretty quick.
Yeah.
Or one of these two, because Steelers, Ravens, man, I would. And you got fantasy playoffs for like everybody. I mean, man,
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. But I'm excited for this, and we got all the bowl games going on almost every night. So I mean, this is great.
Yep. All right, and that'll do it for the Fourth and a Mile podcast. For Nicholas Elliott, I'm JD Zaza. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for in either NFL or college, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll either talk about the
We might
second
do
round
some
games
NFL this weekend.
or the NFL, but we'll see you guys later. Peace.